I now call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:32 p.m. I would like to remind everyone that some of our meeting presenters may participate via Zoom. Also, we're trying to make a recording, so if you all can please try to watch yourselves in terms of volume. We want everyone at home to be able to hear as well. But thank you. Ms. Ozinski, may we have a roll call, please?
I'm sorry? Did you?
Maybe have a roll call,
I
please.
didn't hear you. I'm so sorry. Trustee Basket?
Yes.
President Feaster?
Here.
Trustee Muhammad?
Here.
Trustee Schmidt?
Present.
Trustee Wilkerson? Trustee Wilkins?
Here.
Vice President Wilkes?
Present.
Thank you, Ms. Ozinski. I would now like to introduce the non-voting member at the table, Jazz Parks, Superintendent of Schools.
Good evening.
Trustees, you have received the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Moved by Vice President Wilkes,
Second.
reported by Trustee Schmidt. Any discussion, trustees? Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Ozinski, please.
Basket? Trustee
Yes.
Basket? President Feaster?
Yes.
Trustee Muhammad?
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkins?
Yes.
Vice President Wilkes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Ozinski. That now brings us down to the public commentary portion of the meeting. The board would like to remind everyone the individuals who have signed up for public commentary will have their name called and will be given an opportunity to speak. Commenters will receive up to 4 minutes, and the public commentary period will be limited to 45 minutes. When your name is called, please come forward and speak at the microphone. To help manage your time, a clock will be placed on the screen in front of you. We would like to remind everyone that public comments generally pertain to Ann Arbor Public School District matters. Comments about any individual or individuals are expressly prohibited. Also, please understand that board members do not respond to public comments, but we will listen carefully and follow up as appropriate. Ms. Ozinski, how many times do we have for this evening?
We have 15 this evening, and in the 45 minutes, each person will get 3 minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Ozinski.
First is Angela Berkeley.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Angie Berkeley. I live in Ann Arbor. I have 2 students at Pioneer High School, and they've been in the AAPS since kindergarten. I'm also a writing teacher at the U of M and have been since 2006. And I come here to speak to you as both a teacher and a parent to urge you to avoid incorporating generative AI tools into the curriculum, as was suggested at the last board meeting. Here is a quote from the public significance statement attached to an article documenting original research investigating what happens when students use AI chatbots. In a series of large-scale human experiments involving arithmetic and reading comprehension, we find that AI assistance improves immediate performance, but comes at a heavy cognitive cost. After just 10 minutes of AI-assisted problem solving, people who lost access to the AI performed worse and gave up more frequently than those who never used it. I, for one, do not want our AAPS students to be paying this kind of heavy cognitive cost while they are completing their formative years of education. When ChatGPT came along in 2022, I was cautiously optimistic. I talked about it endlessly with my students about the ethics and the potential. I tried incorporating it into early drafting and brainstorming activities, and I was underwhelmed by the results. Most of all, because it was so clear to me that any writing task I could assign to them, they would have a much greater benefit from doing it themselves, rather than farming it out to a chatbot. Writing is difficult and slow, just like building muscle is difficult and slow. Both are about practice and development, and my kids' excellent ELA teachers already assign them reading and writing work that helps them engage in a genuine writing process of practice and development. I know that my kids feel a sense of ownership and pride in the work they do in their ELA classes, and I know it's helped them feel more confident and ready to do more challenging work in the future. It turns out that school is not magic, unlike the title of an AI tool that we're thinking about incorporating, nor should it be. The kinds of benefits that my kids have gotten from their work here in the AAPS do not happen for students who are regularly using LLMs. More and more researchers are finding this, and I've seen it myself now that I'm teaching students who have had easy access to ChatGPT throughout their high school years. I know that lots of people will say, well, they're using it anyway. We have to use them. We have to teach them how to do it responsibly. We have to educate them about it. And yes, they are using it. And in my experience, which includes reading hundreds of students' essays since 2022, I can tell you that by and large, they're using it as a massive shortcut around the kind of work that we want to encourage them to do. Students are under pressure, they're overscheduled and overwhelmed, sometimes feeling underprepared. So to turn to a tool that they know cannot be reliably detected, that can finish an assignment in minutes, it's just too tempting. But what I've just described about the difficult...
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn Hutchinson. Carolyn Hutchinson.
What's coming?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Caroline Hutchinson, and I am a current sophomore at Pioneer High School. I'm here today to show my support for our teachers, and I hope to convince you that our teachers deserve a better contract. As I'm sure you all know, according to the official Ann Arbor Public Schools website, the district has had to cut approximately, quote, $25 million from the 2024-2025 operating budget to comply with the state and Board of Education requirements. These budget cuts have not only heavily impacted subjects like the arts and less valued sports, but also our teachers. Our district is one of the lowest paid districts in the state, and it's not just affecting the teachers and their families, it's affecting everyone. The poor compensation of our teachers is also affecting students and the many opportunities that are given to help us. As a student at Pioneer, I've experienced the amazing kindness and support of our teachers, even if I'm not in their class. These outstanding teachers all work really hard to make sure their students understand their content. This includes staying after hours just to help students who might be struggling, allowing students to eat in their rooms during lunch, and leading clubs, all of which they don't get paid for. Their extra efforts are appreciated, but they're already on lower wages and from the financial budget cuts. In other words, they quite literally do not get paid enough for this. Since the teachers have been working without a contract, the teachers have started to cut the extra time that they give to their students. I can no longer sit in the teachers' rooms during lunch. If I miss a test, I have to make it up during class time and miss the lesson for the day, losing valuable time in the classroom. Some people might also ask why eating in the lunchroom in the teachers' rooms is so important to me. It's because of how crowded and overstimulating the cafeteria gets during lunch, especially at Pioneer. Even with only underclassmen, there's hundreds and hundreds of people in there. It's not only a problem for people with sensory issues, but it's also many of my friends without them have refused to eat in the lunchroom as well. I have heard many experiences of people being affected by this. In my last year of middle school, there were a whole list of staff who were laid off because the district simply couldn't pay them. In my last week of 8th grade, I helped my English teacher set up a goodbye party for all of the staff that were leaving. I remember seeing names of some of my favorite staff members who were no longer being paid for their job. Last year, I remember asking my English teacher why he didn't have tissues in his room, and he told me that if he wanted to, he would have to cut into his own salary, which was already low. I already knew that a teacher's salary was very low at this point, but this was so surprising to me that it had become this bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
June Yee.
Hello, my name is Junie, and I'm a sophomore at Community, and I also split to Huron in the afternoons. Teachers have done so much for us students. At least for me and my siblings, they have always been there to support me. My parents chose to immigrate from China to Michigan specifically because of Ann Arbor's education system. And growing up, teachers have always been there to support my family. My parents didn't get an education above the age of high school, so me and my siblings will be the first in our family to graduate high school and college. And without that, without those teachers that were there, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So why are we not making their care worth it? My siblings are all older than me, from 5 years to 15 years. And growing up, I saw that their teachers did so much for them. My parents always said that we should take advantage of our great education system in Ann Arbor. But why do we expect teachers to do so much support when you're pinching their time and their money? I go to CHS, and on the third floor in the teacher's lounge, there is a sign that says how many days the teachers have not been working, or working without a contract. Recently, it's past 100 days, as you guys know, and today is day 106. Walking past, I feel really hopeless because I want to do something great with my life, and without our teachers, I can't build a solid foundation for a career or even an internship. Teachers are the foundations for everything. Whether it's learning how to tie my shoes with bunny ears in kindergarten, or playing bassoon in middle school, or even learning ASL at community. But the most important thing they've taught me is what's right and wrong, and what's unfair and fair. It is unfair that our teachers are not getting paid for their time, and they should get fair contracts. I urge you to give the teachers what they deserve, because they are changing lives. Thank you so much.
Angela Prince.
Good evening. I'm Angela Gallardi Prince, Pioneer graduate and Pioneer parent. I spoke here on August 8th, and I want to thank Superintendent Parks for her strategic planning commitment and Mr. Britton for agreeing to meet. I truly look forward to it. I'd like to start with a frame. Compensating our teachers fairly is the best thing we can do for our kids' education. The current pay dispute is affecting students, canceled activities, and teachers working second jobs. The fastest way back to focusing on education is to resolve the underlying compensation problem, and the data shows that we have the means to do it. Here are 3 points, some of which have already been discussed. First, AAPS has consistently underinvested in teachers. Today, a teacher at the top of the Saline salary schedule earns $11,500 more per year than the same teacher here. There is no denying that we're asking our teachers to make a sacrifice, but it's unclear why. Because as my next finding shows, it's not a revenue problem. AAPS receives 21% more general fund revenue per student than the average of the peers mentioned earlier, which is roughly $50 million more a year. Some have mentioned during the budget session that part of the revenue is restricted, but these figures are apples to apples across every district as its general fund comparisons. So we have the money, why the sacrifices? It is because over the years our budget has prioritized other things. Since 2018, our priorities have been directed outside the classroom, with instruction growing only 16% and non-instructional support growing 36%, purchase services 42%, and ops and maintenance 44%. There was discussion tonight that we contract out services like transportation that other districts run in-house, and that might be true. But either way, that money's going to things that aren't in the classroom, and the analysis to show that in-house would cost more has never been revealed publicly. The question that we keep asking is, why are we asking our teachers to make these sacrifices? My educated guess is that we have let the budget plan itself. I believe the lack of a compensation philosophy has led us to where we are now, and I'd like to formally propose that the board authorize a Citizens Finance Advisory Committee to help the district develop and implement a philosophy of budgeting our teachers first. This committee would consist of 6 to 8 community members with relevant financial backgrounds, meeting regularly with the CFO to review spending patterns and benchmark against peers. We can figure out how to pay our staff competitively. This committee could also help address budgeting discipline over time. This board has been here before. Difficult cuts have been made before, but without a standing oversight body, those savings don't reliably hold. And we have evidence of that recently. This committee would be accountable to help ensure that sacrifices today actually deliver the outcomes promised for tomorrow. And it would give the community most affected, teachers, parents, students, a seat at the table, not just 4 or 3 minutes at the microphone. This could be stood up quickly. It costs nothing. Let's budget teachers first so we can get back to educating our kids. Thank you.
Sonia Chawla.
Good evening, trustees and Superintendent Parks. As you know, I'm a parent of 2 children in AAPS. I've been here before. I also have a bachelor's degree in brain and cognitive science and a master's and a PhD in psychology focusing on child development. I have 17 years of research experience in neurobehavioral development, language acquisition, and early predictors of academic performance. I now work in scientific ethics and integrity lately with a substantial focus on ethical use of generative AI. I provide professional development and am involved with a National Science Foundation funded project on generative AI use. In short, I have a deep understanding of child development, how AI works, and how AI can be productively used. Last week, Dr. Kellstrom and an impressive trio of high school students presented on the potential adoption of AI in AAPS. Much of what they said is consistent with the guidance that I give. However, there are some major concerns with their plan. First and foremost, where are teachers in this? Our teachers have the expertise both in age-appropriate pedagogy and in working with our specific children that is needed to inform the plan, and most importantly, its rollout. They need to be partners in developing curriculum around AI and in incorporating AI into the curriculum. Without their collaboration, and I mean true partnership, not just input, any implementation of AI will do far more harm than good to our students. Our teachers also need professional support and planning time to make these curricular changes. How will this happen when the proposed TA includes a substantial reduction in critical planning time? Number two, one of the rationales for incorporating AI into the AAPS curriculum is that our students are already using it, so we should teach them how. That argument is reductive. Our students are comprised of thousands of individuals ranging in age from 4 to 18 with a wide variety of strengths and challenges. The plan involves introducing AI at a rudimentary level in 3rd through 5th grades. Most children at this age are still beginning readers. Middle school and early high school students are just learning critical thinking skills, constructing persuasive arguments, and how to evaluate sources of information, all skills that need to be well developed before being able to use AI effectively, especially when the evidence shows that AI overuse leads to reduced or underdeveloped critical thinking skills. Dr. Kellstrom also mentioned human-in-the-loop requirements, which is best practice. However, those humans in the loop must already have the content knowledge required and at a depth that they can reliably identify what is accurate and what is not. Human in the loop is mostly useless if these humans do not have the expertise to tease apart truth from hallucinations and bias. You can teach anyone where they might find inaccuracies, but content knowledge is required to know what is and is not inaccurate. I'll leave the social, emotional, data security, legal issues, bias, training data, and environmental and financial costs due to a lack of time tonight. Is AI out there? Yes. Are our children using it? Some are. Does the district have to force it onto our schools before addressing community concerns and meaningfully including teachers who know our students as learners best? Absolutely not. Thank you.
Kristen Glassener.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Glasner, and I'm the parent of a kindergartner at King Elementary. I also hold a PhD in higher education from the University of Michigan School of Education. And in my professional life, I work with limited income students and students who are the first in their family to attend college. Tonight, I'm here representing Screenwise Ann Arbor, a coalition of parents, teachers, and community members who believe technology should be used intentionally to serve our children's learning. Screenwise started with a focused concern, smartphones in schools. Since September, we've collected over 1,100 signatures from parents, teachers, and community members across 27 schools in support of a bell-to-bell policy.
But tonight, I'm here to raise broader issues with respect to technology in schools. These issues are now front and center for Screenwise Ann Arbor. We watched the Chromebook refresh for 3rd through 5th graders, approved on March 25th, and the AI Working Group's presentation on April 8th for district-wide generative AI rollout, introduced in our view without adequate grounding in what the research actually says. In both instances, we've heard concerns from dozens of parents who feel like AAPS is prioritizing technology over teachers, one-to-one devices are doing more harm than good, and that the district should seek more input before rolling out AI across the district. As a higher education scholar and parent, I'm asking for the same standard we'd apply to any educational intervention: evidence, transparency, and genuine community input before implementation, not after. The burden of proof falls on AAPS administration to clearly show us evidence that EdTech programs like Dreambox, Lexia, and Magic School AI improve student learning outcomes. The goal of this district should be equal access to high-quality learning, excellent teaching, rigorous coursework, and in-person learning opportunities. When devices and ed tech programs stand in for those things, we accept a limited definition of equity. The research is clear. When screen time goes up, it's low-income students who suffer the most. A Chromebook or an AI tool is not the same as a great education, and we should not conflate the two. The evidence for generative AI as a learning tool is thin, contested, and in some cases genuinely alarming. Which brings me to 2 direct questions for Superintendent Parks. First and most importantly, is the district planning to move forward with the AI Working Group's framework administratively, or are you bringing it to this board for review and approval? And second, we've heard mention that there are plans for parent engagement and feedback about AI. We're also aware that parent input is part of the upcoming strategic planning process. Will you engage parents in their feedback regarding AI? We need to be involved in this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cody Ann Hall. Cody Ann Hall.
Good evening. My name's Cody Ann, and I'm a student at Huron High School, and I have some things to say. Teachers do much more than teach lessons. They stay after school to tutor students, run clubs, and help kids who are struggling. Clubs and extra help matter because they give students support and confidence. When teachers don't have a new contract, that support disappears. The extra time gives students clubs, tutoring, and after-school help. It's one of the first things to go. Another important point is that students are the ones speaking up. Teenagers shouldn't have to advocate for support in schools. They should be focused on learning and being kids. The fact that students and even former students feel the need to come here and speak shows how much teachers matter. Do better.
Ben Szymanski. Ben Szymanski.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ben Szymanski. I'm the parent of 2 Hazley Huskies. My daughter, who's in 5th grade, has had 4 of her 5 past teachers leave the Ann Arbor Public School District for jobs elsewhere because they cannot be paid fairly here in Ann Arbor. I'm disappointed, and I'm asking the school board to, have a fair contract for our teachers that can keep our best teachers here in the district. We moved here in 2018. My wife had a great experience in Ann Arbor Public Schools growing up, and we moved back in part because of that, and it's a decision we're reconsidering. It's very unfortunate, and I'm beyond frustrated that these teachers have been working for the past several months without a contract, and that this contract negotiations have been going on for so long, and they are not being paid fairly and competitively with other districts, and that the proposed contract could lead to increased class sizes, cuts in specials. Please negotiate a fair contract that pays our teachers what they're worth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea Huang.
Say it one more time.
Andrea Huang.
No problem.
Hi, all. Good evening. My name is Andrea Huang. Along with being a parent to children at Wines Elementary and Forsyth Middle School, I am also the Community Building and Learning Manager at Embrace Race, a national nonprofit that creates resources and training for parents and educators who are looking to raise children who are thoughtful, informed, and brave about race. We work with leading researchers around the nation, translating the most recent research on children's racial learning development into best practices for caregivers, whether educators in the classroom or parents at home. I'm here tonight as a parent and professional to state that the contract offered to the teachers union is untenable, unsustainable, and will lead to a downward trajectory for the district. Research has made it extremely clear that fair compensation for teachers, class sizes, and an overall supportive environment for teachers lead to 1, greater academic achievement by students, 2, teacher satisfaction and retention, and 3, a more equitable environment for students that represent our most marginalized communities in society. I'm happy to share several research articles for you if you're looking for that. I encourage you, district leadership, to go back to the drawing board and encourage you to prioritize teacher compensation, not operations and maintenance, not purchase services, and not salaries of administrators. Thank you for your time.
Joan Beaupre.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to share tonight. I have 3 children in the Ann Arbor public school system, 2 at Pioneer High School and 1 entering Tappan next year. We moved back to Ann Arbor a few years ago, and one of the driving factors in coming back was the quality of education here. Recently, we have heard discontent and decreased morale from teachers, and most recently, our students have been directly affected by teachers leaving the district for better pay and benefits, cancellation of clubs and activities, and office hours. And collectively, this is heavily impacting our college-bound students' experiences, access to resources, and support. Looking at the pay gaps compared to nearby districts and increasing healthcare premiums, it is very apparent why teachers are leaving or negotiating for better terms. I come here to support our teachers and advocate for our children's education and ask the Board of Education and the district leadership to be transparent, uphold your promises to prioritize our teachers, close the pay gap with the comparable districts so we attract high quality teachers, and invest in retaining the exceptional educators our students currently depend on. Thank you.
Susan Zink.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Susan Zink, and I'm an AAPS parent. I have 3 children currently enrolled in the district, 1 at Tappan Middle School, 2 at Burns Park Elementary. We've been an AAPS family since fall of 2019 and lived in Ann Arbor since 2014. I commented at the last General Board of Education meeting on April 8th as well. I spoke in support of our AAPS educators and the amazing work that they do every day with and for our children. However, these same educators are still working without a contract because AAPS's financials are in such a state that we can't afford to pay them competitively. I've been working with a dedicated team of parents, many with finance backgrounds, throughout the district on a Teachers First initiative to get our district spending under control and fix our financial priorities. Our findings support what many of us have known to be true for years now. AAPS is a well-funded district that has been choosing over a long period of time to not invest that money into the very heart of our schools, the people directly educating our children. Now we're at a point where educator morale is at an all-time low, And I'm worried every day that our schools are going to lose more experienced, dedicated staff to other districts. I hope that the community turnout tonight, both on site and those streaming the meeting at home, shows how many people care about the future of AAPS. Now is the time to make a change before our students are further impacted. Other speakers have advocated for a Citizens Finance Advisory Committee to help the district develop and implement a philosophy of budgeting our teachers first. I want to show my support for this idea. I think it would go a long way in proving to our community that the Board of Education and AAPS administrators value the community that they serve. I truly believe that we can be the strong, amazing school district that we once were, but none of us can do it alone. We all need each other, and now is the time to come together and make it happen. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Caitlin Smead.
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Smead, and I am an AAPS parent. I'm here tonight because obviously our district is still struggling to manage its budget, and the proposed solutions continue to protect administrative bloat while starving our classrooms. We are told the money isn't there for our teachers, but the data suggests that isn't true. The money is simply in the wrong place. So where is it? Well, we know much of it is in our central administration. While peer districts manage high-performing schools with lean cabinets of 5 to 7 members, our superintendent's cabinet has ballooned to a whopping 14 executive positions. We have assistant superintendents and executive directors covering overlapping territories. We have assistants to assistants while our teachers are being asked to give up planning time, and our best educators are leaving for Celine and Dexter for better pay and less overhead. A board's most critical purpose is to be good financial stewards. And we know that stewardship is about so much more than bottom lines and balances. A district's budget is a moral document. It reflects our values. And this board must take seriously its duty to protect and promote our community's values. Your repeated choice to maintain a top-heavy administration while teachers work under expired contracts, threatening to increase class size and reduce planning time and making cuts to art and PE and music, not specials but essentials, is not just unconscionable, it's a failure of the board's obligation to care for this district and create healthy, equitable, sustainable communities. Every six-figure administrative role that provides oversight instead of instruction is a choice to keep a classroom size larger. Every redundant executive director role that overlaps with assistant superintendent duties is a choice to let another veteran teacher walk away to a neighboring district. Every assistant to the assistant role in central admin is a decision to eliminate essentials like foreign language and Idea Lab. We parents are done hearing that this is a state funding problem or a COVID-era grants ending problem. I am asking this board to consolidate the cabinet to match the leaner ratios of our peer districts and instead prioritize the teacher contract to ensure we can recruit and retain high-quality educators. I am asking for a fully transparent budget so that every car allowance and travel stipend for central admin, every AI program and piece of tech equipment purchased without partnership from teachers who will actually be using it, and every single dollar can be accounted for. In short, I want to see what this board values. Right now, it certainly isn't our students' experience in the classroom. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Julia Blau.
Hello, my name is Julia Blau. I'm a parent of a Skyline Junior. I've got 1 year left to go. I've been an AAPS parent since 2011, which seems like an eternity ago. Been through this district through a lot of stuff. Am I here for the administrators? Respectfully, no. Am I here for this building, which I found out tonight has the same operating costs essentially as my child's high school? No. Am I here for the 1,000 different ed tech programs? No. Am I here for the AI? I'm going to keep it school appropriate and say absolutely heckin' no. I'm here in this district with my children because of the teachers. I'm here for the culture and the values that this district purports to respect. The district is hosting a Trump propaganda Freedom 250 event on May 7th at Skyline High School. This is not acceptable. The proposed class size in the tentative agreement of 36 kids in a high school class is not acceptable. My son actually had an English class last year with 36 kids. There is not physically room for 36 kids in the class. It is not acceptable to not pay our teachers a fair wage. It is not acceptable to expect them to pay more and more of their health insurance. It is not acceptable for teachers to be working without a contract. That's not acceptable for the teachers, and it's not acceptable for the students. Clubs are canceled. Kids cannot make up tests or work before and after school or during lunch. Kids cannot get tutoring before and after school and during lunch. Kids are being told that they have to ask way in advance for letters of recommendation. So planning for college next year, it would hopefully not be difficult because hopefully we'll have a fair contract by then. But the kids who are my son's friends who are heading to college this year are having a very difficult time. As other parents have said, a budget is a moral document. And the fact that teachers seem to come last time and time again when teachers are the reason we're here is not acceptable.
Amir Macklid.
Thank you. My name is Amir Macklid, and before I begin, the reason why I wanted to make some comments, I'd like to say that we stand in solidarity with the teachers, faculty, and staff and demand a contract for them. And I really want to take a moment to recognize someone who represents the very best of public service in this community, Trustee Rima Mohammed. April is Arab American Heritage Month, and I just wanted to take a moment to say that Rima is not just a member of the Ann Arbor Public Schools Board. She's a voice of steady, thoughtful, and grounded in what really matters, our students, our families, and our future. And as an Arab American woman, her presence matters. Representation isn't just about being seen, it's about being heard, and more importantly, it's about being understood. Rima brings lived experience, cultural awareness, and a deep commitment to equity into those spaces where perspectives have often been missing. But what truly sets her apart is how she leads. She listens first, and she shows up, and she does the work, especially when it's not easy, and especially when it requires some courage. And so in a time where public education faces some real challenges, from funding to curriculum, from wages, student well-being, we need leaders who don't just talk about solutions, but also build trust and take action. And that's what Trustee Mohammed is. She reminds us that leadership isn't about titles, it's about responsibility. Responsibility to advocate for every child, responsibility to ensure every student feels like they belong, and a responsibility to leave our schools better than when we found them. And so I'd like to honor Trustee Rima Mohammed. She is exactly the kind of leader our community needs, and for Arab American Heritage Month, I'd just like to say, Trustee Mohammed, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yasmin Koppelman.
Hello, my name is Yasmin Kopelman, and I am a sophomore at Pioneer High School. I have seen firsthand how hard our teachers at AAPS work, but recently I found out how little they get paid. The average AAPS teacher makes approximately $289,911 less in their careers than comparable districts. District leaders tell our teachers they don't have the money to pay them better, but AAPS is one of the most funded districts in Michigan. AAPS is also one of the only districts nearby that doesn't cover 80% of healthcare premiums for employees. Instead, they cover about 65%. This is thousands of dollars uncovered for teachers' health, while also having salary issues. Another concern in APS recently has been rising class sizes. According to the contract proposed a few days ago, the maximum classroom size will be increasing by 3 students, going from a maximum of 33 students to 36. Although 3 extra kids seems like a small amount, that's 3 more tests and assignments teachers must grade, 3 more students to accommodate, and 3 more students to monitor daily in an already very busy classroom. Although I know our teachers love their jobs and want to help as many students as they can, this amount is not manageable. I have seen how hard it can be to teach and control classes of 33 people. I couldn't imagine how much more chaotic a class of 36 would be, not just for our teachers who have to take care of us, but also for students trying to work and learn with minimal interruption. Current teacher salaries are also affecting the future generations of educators in our area. Some teachers are choosing not to look for jobs in Ann Arbor because they know how low the pay is here. I want to be a teacher when I'm older, and I would honestly be hesitant to choose AAPS because of the current conditions. Regarding students, some parents who know of the harsh conditions in APS are enrolling their kids elsewhere. I hope our teachers and district leaders can agree on a contract that treats our teachers right. The amount of work that our teachers put in to make our classrooms feel fun, interactive, and welcoming is seen and appreciated by us students. I hope the same appreciation can be seen from our district leaders. Supporting fair teacher pay means supporting student education. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes public commentary.
Thank you, Ms. Ozinski. We appreciate hearing from our community. The board would like to thank everyone who spoke and shared their comments tonight. Ms. Parks, are there any points of clarification?
Thank you, President Feaster. A few. As we continue to very sincerely state, we are absolutely committed to the long-term planning and decision-making necessary to get to a better place financially, which includes prioritizing competitive compensation for our staff. We mean that. And we plan to do the difficult work to get there. Additionally, the district has not scheduled an event. We will look into the Skyline event to see to find out what the particulars are, but if it was scheduled, it was not at the district level. So we'll look more into that. We are, in relation to our comparator districts, we have done a series of reductions in the central office over the past couple of years without adding those positions back. And when we look at our comparator districts, we are actually, in terms of ratio, not over bloated or overstaffed. We are actually staffing at less than our comparator districts given the size of our district because we have not replaced those layoffs that we did back in 2024. Additionally, for a couple of other points of clarification, parent engagement on a host of priorities for the district, for families, for staff, for students, including AI, is an integral part of the strategic planning process. And importantly, it's a shared goal. So absolutely, we will be doing that. That's an integral part of the strategic planning process and the feedback that we want to hear from families about their priorities for their children in our schools, in our district. And as was mentioned at the Board of Education meeting last time, the board was asked to determine if the AI guidelines will move forward. So we are not having that conversation this evening, but we will have continued conversation about that. So the board has an opportunity to be fully informed, to weigh in, to request any modifications or changes, or to not vote to authorize it. So we stated at that meeting at that time that it was something in front of the board to approve or not. And on that note, President Feaster, I think that concludes clarifications.
Thank you, Superintendent Parks. That brings us down to community feedback. Trustees, I would like to call your attention to the community feedback for this meeting. That then brings us down to reports of associations, and I know I see Mr. Klein present, so I'll invite AAEA President Fred Klein to the microphone, please.
trustees, Superintendent Parks, Ann Arbor Public Schools community, and the dedicated and fierce AAEA members present and watching at home. Also want to share some love for all the public commentators and the community that is supporting us in this struggle. We love it and thank you so much. Just a brief update tonight. On our 112th day working without a contract, I would like to begin by recognizing an outstanding accomplishment that reflects the strength of our students and our educators. Led by social studies teacher and AAEA member Chloe Root, the community high school mock trial team earned first place at the state competition in Lansing. This achievement is the result of months of preparation, collaboration, and commitment to excellence. It also marks the program's 10th state championship, an extraordinary milestone for this community. Chloe and her students will represent Ann Arbor at the National Mock Trial Competition in Des Moines, Iowa, from May 6th through the 9th, and we are proud of the work they continue to do on behalf of our district. Congratulations, Chloe. I want to provide an update in the collective bargaining process. The AAEA has signed a tentative agreement for the 2025-26 and 26-27 school years. This agreement comes after a lengthy and intensive process that began in October using the interest-based or IBB bargaining model. While that process is designed to foster collaboration and shared problem solving, it did not ultimately produce the progress needed to reach an agreement. As a result, we transitioned to mediated bargaining with the support of a MERC mediator. Over the course of 6 months, our bargaining team participated in dozens of sessions, gathered feedback through multiple member surveys, and spent countless hours preparing and refining proposals grounded in the needs of our educators and students. The tentative agreement that we signed reflects the district's most recent proposal and represents a point at which we believed it was critical to bring the process forward to our membership for their review and their decision. Per our AAEA standing rules for ratification of a tentative agreement, we held an emergency rep council meeting this past Monday where we shared this TA with our building representatives. After that, we shared it with our membership. Following those same ratification rules, we will be having a general membership meeting tomorrow at Huron High School in the auditorium at 5 o'clock to hear concerns and to answer questions related to this TA from the entire membership. Next, ratification voting will be open on Friday, April 24th at 7 a.m. and will close on Monday, April 27th at 5 p.m. It will be an online vote conducted through MEA. Our members will carefully review the agreement and make their voices heard through this vote. Once that process is complete and we have shared the outcome of the vote with our members, which will probably be Tuesday, we will communicate the outcome to the district. Our educators remain deeply committed to their students and to this district, and they deserve an agreement that reflects that commitment. We will keep you informed as this process moves forward. Thank you.
We also have Claire Arthurs from the AAEAP.
Thank you, Ms. Ozinski. I invite Ms. Arthurs to the podium. And so, can you lower it, or can someone lower it for her? It's okay. All right.
Hi, guys.
Oh.
I think that's okay. Great. I'm so happy to see everyone today. Greetings, trustees, Superintendent Parks, Ann Arbor staff, and families. Claire Arthurs, proud to represent over 340 part-time and full-time paraeducators in our unit. We stand in solidarity with the teachers and their productive struggle that they're having. I also want to wish a happy OP day to all of our office professionals in our sibling union. Our office professionals do 100 things daily that support AEAP members that we know about, and likely another 100 or 300 that we don't. Thanks for all you do to help our students run and make our members' lives easier. OPs are also without a contract at this time, FYI. Office professionals join paraeducators in being education support professionals. As a reminder, the board has not yet formally endorsed the ESP Bill of Rights that I mentioned in November. It would be a powerful demonstration of commitment to our collective units if you did so. Families and individuals, you can also endorse the ESP Bill of Rights online. If you need information, please let me know. AEAP morale is a mixed bag to report at the moment. On one hand, it continues to be abysmally low. The fault is very simple. It is not in the students. It is in a lack of resources. It is a lack of staff. Our numbers remain down almost as low as they were at the start of the school year. In October, I shared how hard and heartbreaking it is to try and support a student while attempting to support 7 others and failing to support any of them. I've received 9 new hire paperworks since last report, 7 after-school childcare part-time, 2 TAs. We've also had 8 TAs that have quit since last report. More are expected. Members report feeling unvalued by the district, shown through compensation, unrealistic workloads, and a general lack of respect and grace. An easy example for a small thing that could be an opportunity to retain employees, but currently isn't. In past years, our members were able to request to use a personal business day before a holiday by emailing the same email as the teachers do. I know this because both myself and the vice president have done so successfully. This year, we were told because it's not in our contract, if staff want to take these days, they must be unpaid rather than being allowed to apply one of their personal business days. An unpaid day to someone who makes so little and depends on their salary is a real kick in the teeth. 2 members with plenty of sick time were docked pay instead of sick time when they had to miss work for family emergencies on professional development days. What's significant here, school's not in session on those days. So there was no money that the district needed to pay for substitutes on those days. Since they had significant sick days, it gave them a feeling of just sort of slightly petty. There are a lot of examples of small things that don't cost the district very much that could be done and aren't at this moment. On the other hand, morale in the union itself is increasing. As more members become upset with our unsafe work conditions, lack of clear communication channels, blatant outsourcing of our positions to higher paid contractors, and most significantly, lack of support in the reduced number of colleagues and how negatively this harms our students, folks are fed up. In that way, dues-paying membership is increasing. With it, more voices and more help to be stronger in negotiations. In this way, I suppose I should thank the district. We have the potential to be the largest paraeducator union in the state of Michigan. Our biggest news is that there's a changing of the guard. After 12 years, George Przgotsky of advocating for our unit, AEAP has a new UNISERV director, Lori Tunick. It's a newly created position to support Wayne County and AEAP. It is hard to understate how much George has done over the 12 years he's been with AEAP. I am grateful to George for all of his work, and especially for showing me the ropes. I'm lucky for the time and patience he took with me as I grew into my position. Lori has been a UD with MEA for Region 7 for a decade. She's fantastic. While we're sad to say goodbye to George, MEA's increased investing in both AEAP and, coincidentally, by doing so, more with our sibling units of the teachers and the OPs is a blessing. We are excited for this. We bargained on Monday. I'm pleased to share the majority of proposals have reached agreement. Those remaining are almost exclusively related to financials, where we've been remaining at a bit of a standstill. We've been told that any raises or financial incentives at this time would be based on concessions. We still have no concessions to offer. A couple isolated facts. We've had at least 2 TAs quit their jobs after working less than 4 months. I'm wondering if HR is tracking this data. I think it might be beneficial to look at which schools that's happening at. There are more reports of AEP members working with EduStaff subs who are on their phone all day, leaving classes alone with the TA for over 20 minutes, cursing out students and or shaming them when faced with perceived disrespect. Job postings seem to have a varied amount. Many show a salary of a new teaching assistant in the range of $26,000 or more annually. I presume good intentions. I'm pretty sure it's a typo. Besides the fact that this is more than most of us make and would be based on HR offering a new salary lane, pay group, or hour amount, the most noticeable thing is that the postings are still there. So even postings for jobs that make $3,000 more than most of us start at, we still have over 40 positions vacant. A lot of my reports feel competitive, a combination of Groundhog's Day. Today, I wanted to lift up voices of some of our members. Many have said they'd like to speak directly to the board, but they fear retaliatory action if they did. Members who have written to the board have shared that they have very much have shared how much they enjoyed receiving personal replies that you sent them. Thank you for that and for all you do. From our members. I'm a one-on-one and I work with other students. We have a sub-TA that's been here for months. He's not great and undermines both me as special education teachers regularly. I've been in the district over 9 years and I'm still not making $25,000. The entire time working here, I qualify for and use both Medicaid and the SNAP program. At the start of another staff. At the start of the school year, I was assigned a student to a one-on-one. Soon I was given an additional student since my student is friends with them, making me a two-on-one. My 2 students also share most of their classes with another student who has a one-on-one. The other TA and I support, which is great. The thing is, when the other TA is absent, I'm expected to support all 3 students on their own. They all have needs significant enough to warrant having a one-on-one in general education classes, and I can't meet them all at the same time. We've lost our TC support, so that's another support gone. I do understand there's a staffing shortage, but it's starting to become overwhelming. Our principal is very approachable and supportive, but I just don't know how much more they can do with the staff shortage. There's so many of these. We would like a clear chain of command. At schools, there often seems to be confusion about who we should go to for broader questions or concerns. We're told from the district, OSE, to listen to the case manager, but often the case manager, social worker, and gen ed teachers communicate different things, and we're caught in the middle. I just want to help my students. I've seen past hires that do not have the skills to work with kids who refuse, have behavior, this is relating, they've asked for differentiated PD, have difficulty communicating with general ed kids, let alone kids with different needs. We have an EduStaff sub right now who can't work with most caseload kids and is assigned to students without an IEP. That's a problem. That's a position that is wasted, and kids lose out on support, the district loses financially. Under no circumstances should warm bodies be hired for these positions. I've never had a safety orientation, and I'm not sure why the district keeps saying that they have them. I've been a district employee for a while and worked at 3 schools. I figured it out over time as I've been around long enough, but it was never formally taught. I'm a paraeducator who supports 2 different students with full-time one-on-one write-ups in their IEP. I show up unpaid at least a half hour before work every day, and most days I stay till 4:15 or 4:30, informing, collaborating with parents and teachers about student instances, behaviors, or filling out my accommodation logs and data tracking. I work 3 jobs because it's the only way for me to survive. Even though I'm single and have no dependents, I live in an apartment with a roommate to split rent and utilities as I can't afford anything more. Another says, I love my job and I find joy in my students. I don't know if folks realize a normal work week for me. Usually it includes, quite routinely in a normal week, I have been kicked, been punched, had things thrown at me, been spit on, and occasionally peed on. All of this for the small amount of money we receive. Last year, I took a $4,000 pay cut, essentially, due to the increased health insurance costs. Someone else says, where our frustration comes is the number of students we're expected to support in the classroom. Due to the cutback in TAs, unless we have a one-on-one, we're supporting as many as 10 kids in a class at a time. That's not small group. The kids are slipping through the cracks. If there's a behavioral issue with one student, the rest miss out on the support that they need. We are all overloaded and we can support only so many at a time. They continue, I'm in bankruptcy, which is the only way I was able to keep my house and make things work. We're drowning in debt and homelessness. Please pay us what we deserve. It would be nice if we were respected more and treated like the work we did was important. TAs need built-in planning time to talk with others regarding shared students, as well as meet with social work to review BIPs and case managers to review data tracking. This is hard without a prep. I usually give up my lunch or email a bunch of hours from home for free. Our PL continuously emphasizes the importance of collaborating with our special education team, yet there's rarely, if any, an opportunity in our schedules to allow for such collaboration. We need our PL experiences with educators with whom we spend the day. Doing PL in isolation, regardless of how valuable or meaningful the learning is almost useless. I'm almost done, I swear. When I go to bed, still stressed out about the days past and the day ahead, there's only one question at the top of my mind. Why am I doing this big job for such small pay? By failing TAs, you are failing kids. This should be obvious. The lack of staff is at a disastrous level, and we are just putting out fires. Lots of kids report feeling unsafe. Instead of getting the best education they can get and need to develop and thrive as people, they're being shoved into heavily understaffed, self-contained classrooms or gen ed classrooms with no structure, endangering them, not just themselves, but others. The lack of structure comes from the situation, not from the teachers. The teachers are phenomenal. The real question isn't whether they will get through their school years, but whether they will get through the rest of their lives with their safety, dignity, and freedom intact. I love my job, and I am grateful every day I get to work with these wonderful children who have been the greatest source of joy, fulfillment, but also learning and self-growth. I feel there's no better job in the world and none more important. Although I'm constantly told I am the hardest job, I am the backbone, the beating heart of the schools. I am not paid enough to support myself, even when splitting a home and living costs with others. Please allow me to live a manageable, independent life while continuing to do this job that so many have told me is vital for the happiness and well-being of our most vulnerable, yet gifted and special children. That's them. I'm back to me for one tiny paragraph. Many of us used to be readily able, willing, and happy to recruit others to work for AEA positions. A lot of this was very teaching assistant heavy, but for our other positions as well, in preschool, after school, community assistance. We all know that even with job fairs, word of mouth is the very best way to recruit for positions, personal connections. A lot of us used to, but we haven't for years. We haven't since there were repeated insults to our unit. When we returned from learning after COVID virtual time, the entire district was given a memo. Everyone has to be 6 feet apart, and we cannot hug colleagues. Everyone should eat lunch in their own classroom. Safety is paramount. When teaching assistants said, well, we don't have a classroom. How does that work for us? We were told we should all eat unmasked in the student lounge, staff lounge at the same time. Just try and separate ourselves and maybe open some windows. This level of disrespect is what many of us have felt for several years coming now, and it's reflected in our not recruiting for you. We can recruit for you if we are given the respect and support that we need. I wanted to come here dressed as a Lorax, but I showed tremendous personal restraint. I will tell you that unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Please help AEAP. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that brings us down to board committee reports, and I will turn it over to Finance and Planning Chair, Trustee Wilkerson, for his report.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met on Friday, April 10th at 3 p.m. We covered 3 action items or agenda items: everyday math journals, food and nutrition services contract, and the monthly budget monitoring for February of 2026. Those will all come before the board this evening.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Seeing none, that brings us down to the Governance Committee, which I am chair, and I'll ask Vice President Wilkes. She wants to chime in and help anything I missed. But I know that we met this past Friday, the 17th, to address the agenda for future meetings and to talk about a couple other items.
Yeah. Is my mic on? Can you hear me? Yeah. We talked briefly about school start times, since it's a topic that's been coming up. Just sort of the ins and outs that would involve. And we also, Superintendent Parks mentioned that this would be a topic that would be part of the strategic planning agenda. So that was one of the things that we talked about. We talked.
I can add.
Yes, Trustee Muhammad.
Yeah, so just to clarify, so it may, for the school start time, it may come up as we have to look at the strategic plan from my understanding.
Thank you, that's correct.
And then the 2000 series, is that what we looked at?
Yeah, we did look at that also.
Administrative.
The 2000 policy series.
Yes.
Right.
And so those things will be coming either to strategic planning, and the policy series will be coming forward at one of the future meetings. So, any questions, trustees? And thank you all for helping me since I was late to that meeting. I appreciate it. All right. That brings us down to the Bond Committee of a whole, and I'll turn it over to our chair, Trustee Basket.
Thank you, President Feaster. The Bond Committee met this afternoon, shortly before our study session, and has recommended that the presented contract bids come forth to the board tonight. So you will see those, Trustee, on the agenda.
Thank you, Trustee Basket. If there's no questions, that brings us down to number 7, our superintendent update, and I'll turn it over to Superintendent Parks.
Thank you, President Feaster. I appreciate the opportunity to highlight some important recognitions and people and events in the Ann Arbor Public Schools and acknowledgments that we make throughout the month of April and May. So April is National Bilingual Multilingual Learner Advocacy Month. This month is dedicated to celebrating the accomplishments of our bilingual and multilingual students, the fastest growing student population in our district. We affirm and appreciate the value contributions of our AAPS multilingual students and families. This month, we have the opportunity to help our multilingual students feel empowered by their strengths, reinforce the benefits of multilingualism, and advocate for the resources that support multilingual student success. We're also grateful for the dedication of our English learner teachers and staff who support students in developing proficiency in multiple languages while honoring students' cultural identities. Our teachers and staff work not only to enhance academic achievement, but also to prepare our students to thrive in our increasingly interconnected global society. The week of April 19th, this week, is National Volunteer Week, which each year provides us with an opportunity to express our appreciation for the wonderful parents, families, PTO members, community, and strategic partners who selflessly serve in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. Volunteers support classroom and school enrichment activities, field trips, office and library support, academic and bilingual support, noon hour and recess support, after school and homework support, and in many other capacities in the lives of our schools and students. We recognize that strong communities are characterized by strong public schools. Our AAPS schools are strengthened and made more vibrant, connected, and successful through the engagement, participation, and support of our caring and committed school volunteers. Speaking of caring and committed, as has been previously mentioned this evening, today is Administrative Professionals Day. We want to recognize our AAPS office professionals and their work as vital partners in our AAPS family. We appreciate the dedicated service they provide throughout the year. Their efforts, knowledge, and expertise are crucial in enabling the strong connections that our district provides for our students, staff, and families in the Ann Arbor community. The role of the administrative professional encompasses an incredibly wide range of expertise and skills. They are the frontline presence that ensure support throughout our school days. We have come to depend on the multitude of tasks that they maneuver through daily, and without their support, we could not serve and care for our students as well as we do. So to our amazing administrative professionals, thank you for your hard work, dedication, and positive attitudes. You make our jobs easier and more enjoyable, and we are grateful for everything you do. Happy Administrative Professionals Day. In keeping with our longstanding commitment to the environment, Ann Arbor Public School students and schools across the district celebrated Earth Day 2026 today. Each year on April 22nd, we mark the anniversary of the first Earth Day in 1970 as the beginning of the modern environmental movement. Today is widely recognized as the largest observance in the world. More than 1 billion people every year celebrate this as a day of action to change human behavior and create better global, national, and local policies to protect our health and environment. In classrooms across the AAPS, Earth Day represents an excellent opportunity for learning as students, teachers, and school teams explore and celebrate a shared commitment to environmental sustainability. We look forward to continued engagement in our collective effort to serve as strong stewards of our planet within our Ann Arbor Public Schools community today and for our future generations. The AAPS and Saline 41st Annual College and Career Fair will be held on Wednesday, April 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Saline High School. Representatives from more than 70 colleges and universities will be available to meet with students. Students will also have the opportunity to learn about skilled and technical trades from local business and industry leaders. Students must pre-register in advance of the event to receive a barcode, and that can be found on our district website that is shown there on the screen. On Saturday, March 21st, Community High School won the state championship for Michigan High School mock trial held in Lansing. Team Michigan now prepares to represent our state at the national championship in Des Moines, Iowa, May 6th through 10th. Mock trials are designed to teach content and appreciation of our judicial system and reenact much of what might take place in a trial court. Students take on the roles of attorneys and witnesses and compete against each other in real courtrooms in front of real judges and lawyers. We wish the best of luck to our championship community high school team under the expert guidance of Chloe Root as they take on teams from across the country in Des Moines. We couldn't be more proud of our students and coaches. At MSVMA State Solo and Ensemble Festival on April 10th and 11th, two ensembles from Pioneer Choirs were named the top performers of the festival. Coraliers, a chamber choir from within Pioneer a cappella choir, was chosen as the top large ensemble, and Fresh Trouble, a freshman SSA trio, was chosen as the top small ensemble. Each group will automatically perform at the MSVMA All-State Festival in May, which is the highest honor of vocal music achievement in Michigan. They will sing at a recital featuring the top 13 large ensembles, 5 small ensembles, and 8 soloists. This is the second straight year that the Coraliers have received this designation, and the 14th straight year that the Pioneer Choirs have had an ensemble choir and or soloist selected to perform at this prestigious event. The Pioneer Choirs are led by Stephen Lorenz, the Director of Choirs, and Sion Yu, our pianist. So we want to congratulate them and our outstanding students on this accomplishment. Lastly, the Pioneer Robotics team is headed to the World Robotics Competition. The Pioneer High School robotics team, Pi High Samurai, won the regional robotics competition and will move on to compete next week in the World Robotics Competition in Houston, Texas, against nearly 600 teams from around the world. This is the first time they have reached this level since the team was created in 2003. And there are some details that are on the screen there that you can find linked to tell you more about this event and our teams. And with that, that concludes the superintendent's report. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. False alarm. We also have today here with us our district librarian department chairs. We talked last time about this being School Library Month. So they're here to talk a little bit about our AAPS libraries. We have Jennifer Colby and Rachel Goldberg.
All right, welcome.
There we go. Go to the next slide. Hi there, I'm Rachel Goldberg.
I'm Jennifer Colby.
And before we get started, we want to say that we're here obviously as the library department chairs representing our department during National School Library Month, but we also stand in solidarity with all of the other special area departments who provide critical instruction to all of our students throughout the district. So a little bit about our department. We support all of our diverse learners, grades young 5s through 12, including our ELL students, our students in self-contained classrooms, our students with diverse learning needs. We have librarians in all 31 of our buildings, K-12, many of whom have Masters in Library Science and Information degrees, many of whom are also ND certified. That's the Media Specialist certification from the state of Michigan, although we use the term librarian here in AAPS. Our programs are wide-ranging from elementary through high school, and including instruction and research skills in finding and evaluating information, digital citizenship. We host special activities and events, book fairs. We do fundraising for our programs. And we also are supported by the Friends of the Ann Arbor Public School Library, a 501c3 volunteer group made up of parents and community stakeholders who work to support our program, one of the first of its kind in the country. We offer a wide range of resources to students, print books, digital books, research databases, and a streaming video for our students' research. Next slide, please. We directly support around 6,000 students per day. In the high school, in the comprehensive high school is about 500. the alternative high schools, about 50, 200 every day in middle school, and 125 a day average in elementary school. What are our students doing when they come to the library? We are teaching lessons, they're checking out books, they're getting tech support, we're doing test prep. I'll talk a little bit later about the safe spaces that our libraries provide. A2 virtual classes also meet in school libraries. Club advisory and homework help is just a broad overview of the kinds of things that are happening in our school libraries every day. Slide, please. Yeah. So this photo is outdated because since then we have 5 new members added to our department this year at Carpenter, Abbott, Mitchell, Thurston, and Huron. This is a group of professional educators and librarians who we use all sorts of different tools to support our collections, ranging from diversity audits, which is a tool built into our Destiny circulation software. We're always working to update our collection, making sure that it is representative, relevant, offering windows, mirrors, sliding glass doors to our students. Our librarians and our amazing library clerks catalog. We offer shelf service. We all do purchasing for our collections. We also weed out and deselect materials that no longer meet our criteria for selection, including things that are outdated or no longer relevant or no longer used. We also offer teacher support and co-teaching with classroom teachers across curricular areas. We are certified as Common Sense educators based on the lessons that we teach through Common Sense Media and the work that we've done to become Common Sense certified educators. We present at conferences from the Michigan Association of School Librarians to the Michigan Association of Computer Users in Learning and other local and national conferences. And we are all certified school library of the 21st century through the Library of Michigan. We received that designation after working really hard on those applications several years ago. Oh, here we are. So 28 school library of the 21st century certifications. So these are, our librarians have shown a strong commitment to information literacy and student achievement by focusing on these key areas. So these are the areas to qualify for this Library of Michigan School Library of the 21st Century designation. We were evaluated on these 3 key areas: instruction, so teaching for 21st century learning, the built environment like our library spaces, and then leading the way to 21st century learning in terms of advocacy and collaboration, both in our buildings and on a district level and beyond. Still me. She assigned us, so I'm going to keep going. In terms of instruction, what does instruction look like in the library? We teach and support students' literacy goals. We teach research. We teach digital skills ranging from safe and responsible computer use to how to use a variety of digital tools. You'll see some of our resource portals, our elementary and middle school resource portal are over there. Those are pages that we maintain that are the default pages when students open up a new tab on their Chromebooks, so that they are immediately given a wide range of vetted, reliable resources to use for their schoolwork. Digital citizenship, as I've mentioned, is all about safe and responsible use of the internet, and both in terms of consumption and creation of information. Information literacy is how to sort fact from fiction, including media literacy and news literacy. And we also teach keyboarding, which is also known as typing, because our students are still using devices, for now at least, that require them to use a keyboard. Now it's you.
Now it's me. And then besides all of the traditional library type programs and tools that you would expect in good instruction in the libraries, we also do a lot of digital resource support for tools that are used in the classroom as well. So all of these tools and more, we provide instruction and support for students and staff in all of our buildings to deliver our district-wide curricular content. And then I do want to clarify a few misunderstandings about AI literacy and the work that the librarians are doing in our schools. To be clear, that AI literacy encompasses an understanding of how AI works, using it responsibly, recognizing its social and ethical impacts, understanding its benefits, potential benefits, and risks, and knowing how to mitigate those risks. So AI literacy instruction does not include using AI tools. Elementary students are not being taught how to use AI, and elementary students in our district do not have access to AI tools on their district devices or in our schools. And we are working as a team. We have a small team of librarians that are meeting tomorrow morning, in fact, to discuss the revision of our acceptable use policy for our students. We want to make it a responsible use policy, incorporating media literacy, digital literacy, AI literacy, research skills, and any tool that is used on their district devices. And this all increases our students' digital readiness. And then also to clarify, we have 5 lessons that all of our 5th grade students are engaging with their school librarian this year, starting this year. At some buildings, it might include some 4th grade students, depending on if the librarian feels it's appropriate to introduce it at AI literacy at an earlier grade level. And those lessons include what is AI chatbots, what is behind the screen, AI chatbots and friendships, artificial intelligence, is it plagiarism, and the environmental impact of AI. These lessons were modified based on the Common Sense Media AI literacy lessons, and then Rachel and I decided that there was no lesson from Common Sense Media about the environmental impact of AI, so we built our own to share with our students.
Appreciate that that was work that the district supported us working on this.
Okay, so then besides everything else that we've already talked about, we do many special events and activities, including everything listed here. I encourage you to read through it. It's varied and unique to our district, I believe. And then our wonderful librarian at Clay, Kim McLean, consistently produces a newsletter for our department. So that's linked there. You can look at the current one, and you can look at links to our previous newsletters as well. This was a special program we had this year. Well, a couple programs, community partnerships. One at Scarlett Middle School, where a local artist, Lynn Wood, worked with the Scarlett librarian and the student ambassadors to create the mural that you see there in a space that was otherwise void of any interest at all, and she found that she wanted to bring in a community member and work with the students to create something special for the school. And that it is not just a mural; it has actual relief. I encourage you to go to Scarlett and take a look at it. It is very special. And then on a regular basis, students who have been at their elementary or have graduated from their elementary school will come back to their elementary school to help out their librarian and read stories to the students. I do know that King students are doing this at Huron students are doing this at Thurston in the next few weeks to help with understanding of financial literacy. So it's just fun for us to have our students come back to their elementary school libraries to help the new generation of elementary school students. So in addition to our budgets, and I wanted to just mention, I have a Post-it note here, for our print budget, it's about $5.36 per student this year, and for our ebook library, which we'll talk about in a moment too, it's about $1.88 per student this year. So that's a total of $7.24 per student that we receive from the district to purchase materials in our libraries every year for our students and staff. So in addition, we consistently raise about $25,000 per year to supplement these budgets. This could happen through book fairs, many grants. We're always applying for grants. And now with our friends group, our parent group, they have been able to raise some money.
All right.
So more about our amazing friends group. And I could talk to you about them all night because to be like buoyed up by community members who just value the school library, it's a pretty amazing thing that we have here in AAPS. So they provide volunteer services, they raise money, they advocate for the library at local and state levels, they go to events and have tables and recruit other volunteers, they have directed fundraising that they're working on. They received a $15,000 Knight Foundation grant to purchase audiobooks for us in Sora. They also pay for training and resources, and they hold book covering parties at the local public library where they train volunteers to come in. Perhaps you're familiar with the plastic covering, sort of like contact paper that we cover all our books with so that they last a long time, since Jennifer just shared the state of the amount of money that we get for books each year, so we have to make them last for a long time. So that takes a long time, and our librarians and our clerks are working on that. But when our friends host volunteer parties and they bring high school NHS volunteers to the public library on the weekends to cover books for us, it's a pretty amazing way that this community comes together in support of our school library programs. We're really lucky. All right, these are just some of the digital resources that we offer to students. And one of the things that I just want to highlight in terms of equity is that our Sora ebook library is available to all students at all schools. I mean, obviously it's leveled, so we have the books that are available of a elementary, middle, and high school level, but it means that at schools where, when we have a smaller school where there's a smaller budget for book purchasing, since our book budgets are tied to our number of students, it means that when books are available in Sora, they are available to all students across the district. So that's a pretty tremendous force acting to ensure that all of our students have access to a wide range of diverse and relevant and timely digital resources. Pebble Go Next is a subscription database that we use for Pebble Go and Pebble Go Next, they're the lower and upper elementary subscription databases that we use for research. Gale databases are used by our secondary students, and then the Michigan eLibrary is just this fantastic resource database repository available through the Library of Michigan. Do you want to get your thing on? Yeah. Jennifer forgot her password, but this is so far this year, we have checked out 216,520 books, but since we created this slide a few days ago, there have been an additional 16,122 checkouts just this week, just this Monday through Wednesday. So our children are checking out a lot of books in our school libraries. Yeah, pretty awesome. That's you.
So again, with Sora, it's our district-wide digital library. It's ebooks and audiobooks and read-along format books. Besides being available to all of our students and staff, I should add, it's available 24/7 all year long. So when our libraries are closed, our ebook library and audiobook library is still open. It has lots of features that some students prefer. We have some students that just only read on their district-provided device or listen on their district-provided device because that's the format of book that they prefer to engage with. And using a tool like Sora helps our students develop the digital readiness skills that they need to prepare for online testing, including on-screen reading. There's a notes and highlights tool that you can engage with in books, and then defining words. So lots of practice in engaging with a screen to better understand content. Our Sora statistics for this year, we had 112,377 ebooks and audiobooks checked out so far as of Monday. And, that's on a later slide, that's fine. That's the breakdown of our collection, and you can see the checkouts per month. It obviously goes up in September because that's when our librarians start promoting this as a resource to our students. And then that equates to 52,135 hours read district-wide. I wish I could find the same data for you for our print collection, but that would be rather hard to gather. And then as of April 20th, we've had 919,039 all-time checkouts. That's getting close to 1 million. And we were at a mere 500,000 back in the 22-23 school year. And as of tonight, we've had, Oh, no, that's fine, it's in my note. We've had an additional 1,455 checkouts in just 2 days in Sora.
All right. So our programs are worthwhile and critical and central to our students learning on their own. And there's a tremendous body of research, all of which is a lot of which is linked in your slide, on the ways that our school library programs supports students' success on standardized testing and other literacy outcomes. So you'll see this first, there are 2 articles there worth highlighting, that students with well-resourced school libraries or certified librarians consistently perform better academically and score higher on standardized assessments. This should come as a surprise to no one. And students with a full-time librarian score significantly higher on reading and math than similar students who do not. That our students are reading and they are thinking and they are growing and they are researching. And of course, this translates to their test scores. Slide, please. This is a brief from the International Literacy Association on maximizing the power and partnership of school librarians, and explains that having school librarians as collaborators, advocates for literacy equity, and as providers of access improves student literacy outcomes in a variety of ways. Again, of course, having full-time librarians in each building contributes to increased positive outcomes for students' literacy goals, but you don't have to take my word for it because I have research to back it up. And then this last one is an interesting study from the Journal of Academic Librarianship, so university librarianship, talking about how students coming from high schools with high school librarians feel better prepared for academic research. That it's not just the elementary school students where they are having dedicated school library class for a certain number of minutes each week, as many minutes as possible each week, but also that our high school students and our high school librarians who are working directly with and our middle school students, yes, sorry, that our secondary school students are also seeing gains from their work with school librarians in middle and high school as well. And the other important piece of information is that it's not just about students' academic outcomes, it's that school libraries are safe spaces for students, and this slide I am going to read to you. This is from the 2023 Human Rights Campaign LGBTQ+ Youth Report. Many LGBTQ+ youth feel unsafe at school, yet the library is often seen as a safe haven. While almost half of LGBTQ youth, including over half of transgender and gender expansive youth, report feeling unsafe in at least one school setting, almost 9 in 10 LGBTQ+ youth report feeling that they usually or always feel safe in their school library. This is really powerful. It means a lot to our department, and I hope that it is also a powerful piece of information for you. So all that being said,
Governor Gretchen Whitmer proclaimed school librarians are a guiding light. They're mentors, advocates, and researchers that help students spark their infinite imagination. To every librarian in Michigan, thank you for keeping our state curious and inspired. Thank you very much, Governor Whitmer. And I also want to say, I've been saying for years, AAPS is lucky to have librarians, but I recently have decided that really we are smart to have librarians. And I just want to encourage you to come to our libraries, see what how we're engaging with our students and staff, and you're welcome at any time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the school library. I believe that brings us down to 7.2, our monthly budget monitoring report for February 2026.
All right, and we have Mr. Zaski coming forward for this item.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before we get started, I just want to point out, as we always do, that this is just a point in time, this report, and also the format. We brought a new format to the Finance Committee, so it's going to look a little bit different, but wanted to say that we're continuing trying to make improvements to it to make it more user-friendly and more useful to the board in general. This is actually the March. We need the February one. go with it. I'm happy to go if you guys have it in front of you if you want me to.
Yeah, go,
Our board doc.
go ahead.
Looks like we've got the February one.
You can go then if that's. Okay, all right. So our first slide, when you guys are looking at it, is our general fund expected revenues versus actual revenues. And as it looks right now, we're trending exactly where we thought we'd be about this point in time in the year. The next slide is the same thing for expenditures. Same story there. We're trending exactly where we thought we would be for February. I sense a common theme here with the presentation. The next slide is where we're at and where we anticipate to be at the end of the year for fund balance. And in that as well, we are still trending. As you can see, we have the two lines, the orange. There we go, the orange and the blue. So we're still projecting to be down to, you can go to the third slide. And I'm sorry, were there any questions on the first two slides? All right, so the next slide. So on this next slide, as we always talk about, the blue line is where we anticipate to end the year at, which is the 5.72%. We're still trending into that, and that's where we still anticipate to be around at the end of the year. So we're, like I said, we're still trending where we anticipate to be at this point in the year. Any questions on this one? All right, this is our, also on this one, we're showing our general fund revenues and expenses, the percentage of the total either collected or spent for the year. As you can see, local revenue, we're almost done through February. When the March report does come, we will be almost fully received all of our tax revenue. Our expenses are right in line with where we thought it would be, and actually all these line items are as expected at this point in the year. All right, and this is our special revenue funds, our community service fund, food service fund, and student activity fund. Also with these, I would say we're trending exactly where we anticipate to be at this point in the year. Any questions on this slide? All right. On our last slide is going to be just our cash, where we're at in comparison to last year at this point in time. As we've discussed for many months now, the general fund is above where it was a year ago based on the cash flow loan that we did have to take in the prior year. So everything there is trending. The food service one, that was based on timing of when invoices were paid, and reimbursement sometimes can lag behind a month, month and a half, 2 months after, just based on when reimbursement is asked for from the state. Any questions on this slide?
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zaski.
All right. Seeing no questions, that brings us down to first briefing, 8.1, AN 2265, Everyday Math K-5 Student Journals. And I believe Ms. Linden is going to present that.
Correct. As she makes her way to the podium, just a little preview. We here in AAPS use Everyday Math as the district's elementary mathematics curriculum, and we have done so for many years. And a part of that curriculum includes consumables. And so Ms. Linden will talk us through this item around our Everyday Mathematics journals.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Superintendent Parks, President Feaster, trustees. This evening, I'm bringing forward a renewal of Everyday Math student journals. We would fondly refer to them as workbooks in our historic time of learning. These are workbooks that have been in place. We purchased them every year since the adoption of Everyday Math back in 2003. We have updated Everyday Math to newer versions as the research has emerged, and we're now in the most recent copyright edition. In the past, we have moved forward with multi-year purchases of the journals to lock in pricing and to get the best possible use out of our taxpayer dollars. So the only change in this particular item is we're recommending only a one-year renewal at this point. And the reason for that being, we are looking to maximize the use of existing remaining journals that we are gathering and inventorying in the building to make every cent count. And we're also pursuing some options that may be emerging in other districts to purchase from districts who have additional workbooks. So we're just trying to be really cautious about how we're using funding. And I know your responsibility as board members is to scrutinize every expenditure here very carefully, and I respect that. We are also looking forward to the potential of a pilot of potential new math curriculum. And that could mean we stay with everyday math. It could mean we move away from that. So we really don't want to purchase multi-year journals. So I'm happy to take any questions. Today, we're asking for the approval for a maximum of $256,552.65. That amount may be less, but it will not be more.
Mr. Schmidt?
I'm just glad that they're doing pencil and paper things for math.
Thank you.
Because please.
Same.
We cannot sit and just punch stuff in.
Correct.
They got to work through it.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, I have that in my notes, and I almost led with it, Trustee Schmidt, but I do need to say that the paper pencil elements of these student journals are really important. Not only do they provide structured practice for students in really systematic ways, but it's a real support for teachers in workload and lesson preparation. They don't have to go make copies. They're right there, and it shows them formative assessments of how students are doing as the students are completing those books. So they're powerful.
I do have one question. What in this program, and maybe you talked about this when this was adopted, but what do they have built into this in grades 3, 4 that really just get at those facts, the multiplication and division facts? Because I can't express to you how frustrating it is when we have middle schoolers who don't know the facts. And you're never really going to be that good at math if you don't have certain foundational knowledge. But what is it built in here or somewhere else?
So there are lessons specifically with built-in fluency practice in the lessons. I can get them for you so you can see where they exist.
I'm just hoping that happens because this is an issue. This isn't unique to Ann Arbor schools.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Yeah. Okay.
Vice President Wilkes?
Yeah, so first of all, I remember everyday math, and I'm glad that we're still using it, but I do have a question that came up a lot. Everyday math workbooks contain a lot of word problems, and I just know that, when we talk about literacy and students who may be struggling readers, I don't know, has everyday math sort of changed its format a little bit with these word problems to address that?
That's some of the improvements in the newer editions, is the accessibility for English learners, for students who may have some language challenges to unpack. So yes, there have been improvements in the differentiation elements that are included in each lesson with particular eye for universal design and linguistic acquisition, making that much easier for students. I'm not going to say that they're not language heavy. There's still a lot of language, but it's really improved.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yep,
Right,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Great question.
Trustee Wilkerson?
I just have one comment. I just want to say, the board very much appreciates the work that the team is putting in to also manage these costs. These do come from the general fund, but
they do.
Knowing the other avenues that you're going through to try to purchase these on the used market, then also exploring printing options. I know we talked about that in committee. I think that's really important that the public hears that as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Very much. Appreciate it. And next on our agenda, we have the 8.2 AN 2265 Food and Nutrition Services Contract Fiscal Year 27 renewal. And I believe Ms. Margolis and Mr. Zaski will be here for that.
Good evening, everyone. We have brought to you today a one-year renewal for our food service contract with Compass Group Chartwells. This will be for year 3 of a 5-year contract. Previously, the board approved the first year 2 years ago, and then last year, we were able to just initiate the renewal as planned. And then this year, MDE has required that school boards actually sign the renewal. It has been already approved by MDE, but we need school board approval as well now. We serve approximately 20,000 meals, equivalent meals annually. We are actually up a bit this year. And again, the original contract includes a 3% increase annually. And then I'm going to let Mr. Zaski here talk about some of the pricing.
So I know in committee, some of the discussion was around the not to exceed amount. So we went back and did some research, wanted to discuss that tonight. So we put on the bottom kind of how we came up with that number. With that, it's when we put out a bid for it, we have to ask them the number of meals that we think we're going to serve. Technically, for food service, they are reimbursed on a meal equivalent. So it's dollars on the cents or whatever, how many meals. So when we looked at this and looking at it again, probably before it comes back for second reading, we're going to add the meal equivalent because that's what goes up by 3%. So I know it had the not to exceed of the 7.1 billion. Realistically, we're up about 100,000 meals this year. So on that, we have to pay the meal equivalent to that. That's how the contract works. So I'm going to rework a little bit of the wording on here with that, but I know that came up in committee, so we wanted to kind of talk about that today. And that's why I think we have provided the 3% of what the meal equivalent went up by, and their management fee their monthly management fee also goes up by 3%. So it is a little bit harder to say what the not to exceed is, because if we serve 100,000 more meals, we have to pay that meal equivalent. So I know that came up in committee, so I wanted to come tonight and discuss that.
Trustee Wilkerson.
Yeah, thanks for addressing that. So what I see here in the proposal is we took the prior year proposal and then added the 3% increase.
Yeah, so
to the equivalent.
So I
and
propose
the management fee.
Yes, I propose that we rework this language a little bit to talk about the per meal equivalent, because essentially that's the 3% that's going to be the increase. So I know we had the not to exceed, and we talked about how we got to that number, but that number probably could go over that based on the number of meals that we're providing. So really, we'll want to approve the 3% increase on their meal equivalent and their admin fee, which is how MDE approves the contract.
Okay, but I think the important thing is also to come up with how we get to that base number, right? So it's the equivalent, the management fee, and then some sort of calculation based on the number of meals. So I think that's what we're kind of hoping to see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I said, MDE cares about the 3% on the admin fee and the meal equivalent, with the caveat that if we serve more or less meals, the amount that's paid to the management company would be more or less. So, yeah, before this comes back for second briefing, we're going to work on it a little bit and add some of the per meal equivalent in there.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, just to clarify.
Yeah.
So the number that we have, the 7 million, you are saying between now and next briefing will increase based on calculations?
Yeah, we're going to go back and look at, I think realistically, this will have to change and say what the per meal equivalent is as the admin fee, because realistically, this is based off the original number of meals from 2 years ago. Right. I don't think we're in that ballpark, is why we paid them last year more than the 7.1. That's how this calculation was done. But now, as we've talked about it more, we said, okay, well, it really should just be the meal equivalent and the admin fee, showing how that went up by 3% from last year. So
trustees should be aware then that the number itself may change, but we're talking about the increase, the 3% increase is basically what we need to be aware of. And between now and the next meeting, you will provide us with a revised document to review.
Yes. And when it goes to MDE, everything for food services, really, they have to approve everything. So on their system, we don't actually approve an amount. They approve the 3% increase on their per meal equivalent.
All right. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, I would just like to add on to that. fully respect and understand that it's MDE's process,
Yeah.
but if the board is signing off on a contract, I think we need to understand how that number is calculated and what that not to exceed amount is.
Sure, so
And they'll provide that between now and the next briefing.
I guess,
It might be a little hard to
yeah.
know
the number.
Right, I guess.
But you're going to give
we
us
should
a
have an
bulk.
estimate.
Right.
Sure, so we can do an estimate, I guess, in my opinion, we'll probably go high on it, because at the end of the day, this 7 million, obviously, based on what we originally thought the number of meals served, we're serving more, which is great news, but it does change our calculation, so.
And we
Yeah.
want to be serving
Yeah,
meals.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, but we can definitely do that, and when we come back to talk about second briefing, we'll have some more stuff in there as well, so we'll do some more charts.
Trustee Muhammad?
So can you use it based on like what has been served, like this year or past years? Like
This year would be more accurate because we're up by 100,000 meals.
Okay.
So we've made some pretty.
Yeah.
We can sort of we can make our best guesstimate based on this year's number, but again, it might be high, so that if we have to do a not to exceed, probably be much higher so that we don't.
And in the end, we get charged for how many meals we serve.
And
so this
reimbursed
is just
as well.
like the max.
Yeah.
And okay,
Yeah, I will say this, the one thing with the food service contract, it is a little bit different than other contracts because of the not to exceed. Yes, like another contract comes in front of you, we'll want to really worry about that not to exceed. This one, because of the reimbursement model and the way the state approves it, we can put a range in there. We're probably going to make it higher just to make sure we catch it, but then not to exceed is harder because technically the contract is approved on a meal equivalent and the admin fee, which goes up by 3% each year, which I believe was in the original bid from 3 years ago.
So, real quick, so this payment for these meals would come out of our general fund?
No, it is
not.
food service fund, and we
Food
get
service
reimbursed.
fund and reimbursed.
Yep, we get
100%?
federal, state.
It's reimbursed for 100%.
For the current year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
correct.
Reauthorized next year.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for that information. Greatly appreciated. And I believe that will bring us down to 8.3, unless I'm mistaken, but that will bring us down to the items from the Bond Committee of the Whole and Annex AN 2269, Slauson Middle School Summer 2026 Abatement Contract Recommendation.
Thank you. Yep. We have Mr. Bing and Mr. Sansberry here to bring forward the next couple of items. And so we'll start with as you stated, President Feaster, the Slauson Middle School Summer 2026 Abatement Contract Recommendation.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent Parks. Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
We appreciate the opportunity to bring forward these timely and critical infrastructure items for consideration. We're addressing some immediate needs related to projects planned for this summer's work at Slauson Middle School, Pioneer High School, and Forsyth Middle School. And as typical with all of our investments through the capital program, we try to maintain a focus on creating and maintaining healthy, high-performance learning environments for our students and staff. So to introduce each one of these items, starting with AN 2269, I'll turn it over to our owner's rep from Gilbane Building Company, Mr. Kevin Stansberry.
Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Parks. As Jason said, we're here to talk about AN 2269, Slauson Middle School Summer 2026 abatement. This scope includes abatement of ceiling glue pods, floor tile, fire doors and frames, transite ceiling materials, adhesives for wood flooring, duct caulking, spray-down fireproofing insulation, and sinks with undercoating. These are materials that were identified in the NESHAP the district has done for all of its building, but at Slauson, these were the ones that appeared in the NESHAP, which is the assessment of hazardous materials. And this work is done in support of the work that you previously approved for Slauson Middle School. The owner requirement is to abate materials that would be impacted by work prior to the work happening. So this is that abatement contract. This work is scheduled to be completed this summer in conjunction with the Slauson renovation, the phase of the Slauson renovation that will take place this summer. The capital program team solicited bids from qualified contractors and conducted post-bid interviews with a strong group of Michigan-based and regional bidders, reviewing the scope of the project, schedule, staffing level requirements, and specified materials for compliance with the documents, and identified the lowest qualified bidder. As a result, the district recommends to approve the Slauson Middle School Summer 2026 abatement to Dorr and Associates out of Bay City, Michigan, in the amount of $254,500 plus a 15% project contingency of $38,175 for a total award of $292,675 to be paid from capital program funds. Questions?
Trustee Wilkerson?
Yeah, I have a quick question on the bid sheet. So it looks like there's a base bid and then a per man hour rate is as well. And so obviously we've went with the lowest base bid here in this case, but how do the per man hour rates play into that or linear foot?
I will do my best to answer that. I was not part of the bid process, but typically the way that works is if there is additional work that's paid out of the contingency, we've locked in rates for that additional work. So man hours, if we find other materials that weren't identified in the bid documents that the environmental consultant says have to be abated, we have prices for that, and that gets drawn down out of contingency.
Okay. I will say on this bid, I think, we're looking at a slight variation of $5,000 between the next lowest bidder. But the low bidder has much cheaper rates established for additional abatement. So I don't know if that was considered in the selection.
It may have been. I believe the lowest qualified bidder is what we're bringing typically would be for the lump sum amount, but not always the case. It might just be a collateral benefit that any additional work this contractor does is less expensive. The vetting process took place involving capital programs. I think Kilbane was there, but primarily the environmental consultant assessed the qualifications of the firm since they prepared the documents.
Okay, and then electrical, power, water, and mobilization, are those just standard costs that are assigned?
Yes.
Okay, I think we should review those as well, just because, again, that second lowest bidder those are cheaper for each of those bids. So we're very close. I just want to make sure we're still going with the lowest bidder.
With the information we have at hand, not knowing whether there will be any contingency use, I believe that that's who we're bringing to you, but it could be the case if the full contingency is used that might differ, but that's not information we have at the time.
Okay. All right. I'll do some calculations if I have any additional questions.
Okay.
Vice President Wilkes?
Yeah, I just want some clarification. So the amount that you're seeking, the $2,554, the $2,550 for this project. So it will not exceed that based on what you're saying because of the contingency. Is that correct?
No, the base bid amount for Dorr Associates is
$292.
Yes, 292 includes 15% contingency.
Okay, got it. And it will not exceed that amount.
Typically, no. Something might come up where it needs to, but the reason the contingency is at 15% is to predict
Make sure that
the
doesn't
kinds of
happen.
things that might happen in an abatement
I
contract.
gotcha.
Right. We typically try not to use contingency, certainly not all the contingency, but this particular scope of work has to react to conditions that are found on site if they differ from what's in the documents, because we must abate.
All right, if nothing else, thank you all very much. Well, then the next one may be you as well. But that brings us to 8.4, which is Annex AN 2270 Pioneer High School 2026 abatement contract recommendation.
Thank you. This is AN 2270 Pioneer High School Summer 2026 abatement. This is also abatement work in support of work we're going to be doing at Pioneer High School. In that case, it's the emergency notification system. So anytime this particular abatement work is for plaster walls and ceilings, which is the identified element that would be impacted by the installation, the removal of existing clocks and speakers, and the installation of new emergency notification systems. This work will be scheduled in coordination with the work we're going to be doing at Pioneer High School this summer. As with the Slauson Middle School abatement work, this was solicited by the capital programs team from qualified contractors. We conducted post-bid interviews, a strong group of Michigan-based and regional bidders, reviewing their scope, the project schedule, staffing level requirements, and specified materials, identifying the lowest qualified bidder. The district recommends to approve the Pioneer High School Summer 2026 abatement to Page Construction Incorporated of Plymouth, Michigan, in the amount of $36,720, plus a 15% project contingency of $5,508 for a total award of $42,228 to be paid from the capital program funds.
All right, Trustee Wilkerson.
I have a question on this one. The authorized user on this is just a project manager / estimator. Would they have authority to sign a contract on behalf of this firm?
We can find out. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Typically, the vetting process would have covered that, and we wouldn't be bringing it to you, but I was not part of that process, so we can find that information.
Okay. Yeah, I think confirming that would be helpful.
Going back to the Slauson project, to be sure we understand what additional information you would like. Sorry, we didn't ask this back then. Is there a way you can provide clarification to us, whether it's here tonight or separately, for exactly what we need to bring to you?
Okay. Like I said, I'll do quick calculations, and I'll follow up if I have additional
because we could clarify at second briefing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I just have a quick question for Trustee Wilkerson. Just to clarify, what issue do you have with the estimator project manager signing? I guess just to clarify.
Typically, to enter a contract on behalf of an organization at this level, it would require a leadership approval for that contract to be valid. So it would be signed by somebody that's in a leadership role at the organization rather than a project manager or estimator.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a question regarding the process. So, Trustee Wilkerson, I think it would be helpful if you shared your concerns. I know you said you're doing calculations, but exactly what you're trying to get at, and if you could share that with the superintendent and myself so that we understand and make sure that your concerns are addressed. So all of, when we come back, everyone will have a basic understanding. The team will go off and do the work, but again, all of us trustees will have the clarification before the next briefing. Does that help?
Yeah, no, happy to do so. Again, and maybe there's not an issue, it's just looking at the total cost rather than just the base bid.
Well, I think also, too, there may be a question in the calculations of what exactly, when those numbers, their man hours, which I have an issue with, guys, kick in versus not. Because as you noted, the second lowest responsible bidder, their man hours, it's more expensive. I think it was 90 or less expensive by $8 per hour, but there were other costs too that you were going to calculate. So
Correct.
Just help us understand. So if you again, just shoot us an email, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I wonder if the question about signatures is based on the documents that you're looking at now. My understanding of these are the signature is attesting to the bid, but it isn't itself the contract. So signing the contract may be with a different party from the company who would be qualified to enter into a contract. This signature might just be saying, we comply with your requirements for this bid.
Okay. Yeah, no, if that is the case, that's fine.
I mean, from my experience, again, like you said, you're signing off that all this information is correct. I stand for my company. And as you said, the big contract, so to speak, the approved contract would be signed by somebody, quote unquote, in charge.
Yep.
But thank you for the question.
If there's nothing else on this one, move down to the next one in 8.5, which is Annex AN 2272, Forsyth Middle School Greenhouse Demolition and Exterior Rehabilitation Recommendation.
Oh, sorry.
You have pictures here?
I was not asleep, I promise. So AN 2272, Forsyth Middle School Greenhouse Demolition and Exterior Rehabilitation. This work is also, to some degree, in support of other work that we'd be doing at the site. That other work would be roofing work that previously was approved. This particular condition at Forsyth is a original construction that has proven very difficult to make watertight over several repairs. So when we entered into this new roofing project, we assessed whether to redesign the greenhouse so that this problem would be permanently fixed, or to demolish the greenhouse and reconstruct the area around it like the surrounding area without the greenhouse, which is the approach that working with the district was selected. So this particular work includes the demolition of the existing greenhouse. As part of the roofing evaluation, the interface with the building was called into question, as I said. It includes a limited amount of new window system. Andrew, maybe we can bring the slides up. That might be helpful. While Andrew's doing that, this greenhouse encloses an area of adjacent science rooms that would have been exterior windows originally, like the original exterior windows nearby. However, those other windows have since been replaced. So the remaining windows within the greenhouse are still the original windows, and because the greenhouse would go away, they would then need to be upgraded to serve as exterior windows like the other upgrades. There's a couple exterior doors that currently open into the greenhouse. They appear in this picture. This white element is an exterior door. However, it is between a classroom and a greenhouse, and in the future it would be between a classroom and the outside. So these two doors and the windows that you see next to them are not exactly exterior envelope grade fenestration, and this project, in the removal of the greenhouse, we would convert these into real exterior doors and windows. There is, maybe, Andrew, the last slide is probably the most valuable one here. So this is the context for the greenhouse. In the foreground, you see a patio area, which is used, I believe, occasionally, primarily, I think, from the science classrooms. There are two science classrooms here that open into the greenhouse. They will then, without a greenhouse, open into this courtyard area that has a patio. So part of the scope is to recreate that patio after the greenhouse goes away. The demolition work will be completed during the summer of 2026. The exterior rehabilitation work will start in the summer of 2026, and the completion will be based on lead times after project award. So there's a possibility that wrapping this area up outside would extend into the school year, but all of the noisy, dusty work would have been done in the summer. That's something we didn't discuss in committee. Apologies. So the capital program team solicited bids from qualified contractors and conducted post-bid interviews with an excellent group of Michigan-based and regional bidders, reviewing the project scope, schedule, staffing level requirements, and specified materials to identify the lowest qualified bidders. There are two bid categories here. The district recommends to approve the Forsyth Middle School greenhouse demolition and exterior rehabilitation trade contracts to Blue Star Incorporated of Warren, Michigan. That's the demolition contract for $37,925. And to Spence Brothers of Ann Arbor, that's the general trades contract, the reconstruction portion of the project, for $194,900. plus a 15% contingency on both of those trade contracts of $35,924 for a total award of $268,749 to be paid from the capital program funds.
When was this thing, this greenhouse put on there originally? You know what year?
Well, it was the original construction of the building in Keys. I knew this at one time.
Okay.
I'm going to say in the 60s.
It looks like something that was just tacked on and looks really, okay.
No, I think what happened is all the other areas have since been improved.
Oh.
And this one, this area has not.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Seeing no other questions? All right. Thank you all very much. I think that's all we have for you all for right now, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And that looks like it brings us down to the consent agenda. And I think this is, yes, we are now at the consent agenda. Ms. Ozinski, will you please read the consent agenda?
Certainly. Approve minutes of the April 8th, 2026 regular meeting. Approve minutes of the April 16th, 2026 special meeting. Approve donations from Rebecca Cook. We received 2 student trombones donated to the A2 STEAM band program. From Michael and Lisa Skolpman, we received 2 clarinets and cases donated to the Ann Arbor Open Music Program. And from Sandy Kunkel, we received a clavinova that she donated to Angel Elementary. And also will approve a closed session on May 6th at 6 p.m. for the purpose of negotiations and attorney-client privilege if that is needed.
Thank you very much. Would anyone like anything removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Schmidt, supported by Vice President Wilks. Any discussion, trustees? Seeing none, Ms. Ozinski, please.
Trustee Basquette?
Yes.
President Feaster?
Yes.
Trustee Muhammad?
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkerson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkins?
Yes.
Vice President Wilks?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. And I believe that brings us down to number 11, or the new 10, item for agenda planning. Do trustees have anything for agenda planning? Seeing none, I believe that brings us down to number 12, items from the board. Do trustees have anything they would like to share?
I do.
Vice President Wilks?
Okay, let me just call it up real quick. Hold on. Okay. Okay. First of all, Trustee Schmidt and I had the pleasure of attending Freedom Bound, a performance by the 5th graders at Angel School. The students did an outstanding job. I just wanted to say thank you to vocal music teacher Katie Ryan and classroom teachers Jay Lee and Julia Newman for the invitation, and also thank you to Principal Fennick, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Okay, and then lastly, Andrew, I actually have a slide with this last one. You're not aware? Okay, you're not aware of it? It's a slide of our superintendent, yeah.
Well, I can talk
Okay,
while you're
well,
getting
I'll
that up.
talk.
I'll have some remarks. You want me to remark while that's being worked on?
Yep.
Okay. I would like to, with my fellow trustees that helped organize this event that's coming up, Trustee Baskin and Trustee Wilks, we would like to invite the community on May 13th at 6 p.m. here at Earhart, going from 6 to 7:30. We will be hosting a school finance teach-in, and what that means is it's a place where we're bringing in an expert so that we can all learn more about how statewide school funding works. Our guest will be David Arson, a longtime resident of Ann Arbor. He's a professor emeritus of education policy and K-12 educational administration. He's an economist specializing in public policy analysis. His research focuses on school finance, school choice policies, education governance, school capital facilities, and the privatization of education services. He earned his PhD at the University of California, Berkeley. Dr. Arson has 2 children who have graduated from Ann Arbor schools. So I hope that people will join us on the 13th for that 1.5 hour event. He will do a presentation a little under an hour, and then there will be time to take community questions. Okay, goes to you if they've got the picture ready. I don't
Are
know.
we ready? I hope we are. Okay, I'll just go ahead and get started. Okay, so congratulations are in order for our very own Superintendent Jazz Parks. Superintendent Parks was one of 50, let me repeat that, one of 50 women of excellence honored by the Michigan Chronicle newspaper recently at Huntington Place in Detroit. In honoring Superintendent Parks, the Chronicle said, and I quote, "Thank you for your commitment to educational equity and unwavering belief in the power of education to change lives. Your commitment to do what's right, not what's easy, sets a powerful example for us all. We are proud to celebrate you for your integrity, courage, and compassionate leadership." Again, congratulations to our very own Superintendent Parks.
All right. All right. Are there any other items from the Board for Trustees? Then I have something. I had the privilege of attending the National School Board Association annual conference in San Antonio, Texas, from the 9th through the 12th of this month. It was an amazing opportunity. There were some sessions that were directly on point with things that we're dealing with right now. Being able to fellowship and learn from other trustees across the country and others from our state was an amazing opportunity. I know we have 3 new trustees here. I encourage you all to go to these conferences in the future. They are excellent, and they, if nothing else, they refresh you from all of the difficult things we have to go through, give you the energy you need to do this work, and you can learn so much. And so please, I encourage you. I won't be going back. This is my last one because I won't be here next year. But for the new trustees who come behind me, please encourage them to go. It's a great opportunity, and I'm thankful I was able to go. So I recommend it. All right. And that brings us down to adjourn to closed session. Is there a motion to adjourn? I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to adjourn by voice vote?
For a regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Moved by Trustee Schmidt, supported by Vice President Wilkes. All in favor to adjourn to closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. We are adjourned to closed session at 9:48.
Recording.